Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Mek Wi Talk. This evening, we're just going to talk up some things. There is no really a topic of such, but we're just going to talk some things that is on our mind, that is affecting our country. And we can talk anything over here. Twiddly dum dum, dumbest of the dumb. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I have with me the fireman and the rebel. Fireman Conrad O'Brien, rebel Wilfred Rattigan, the defender, yours truly, Jeffrey Tavares. Mr. Rattigan, you had a very enlightening program earlier on with our senior, Sir Herb Nelson Jr.
Yes, sir.
Now, we are going to continue over here on an issue. Maybe you don't want to go down that road. Maybe I should have enlightened you further about it. But an issue that is affecting what is going on within the Labour Party, the walls of the Labour Party, the bowels of the Labour Party, according to Sister P.
Well, if I may, Sir Jeff.
By the way, before you start, fireman, me like that Gans there we have on that thing there, no.
You like
man.
it?
Yeah, man.
No, the orange, the thing, no, man, the top we have on. Nice.
You know, saying cool.
Go ahead, fireman.
Yeah, all right. Let's free flow, Jeff. So you can basically come in and share whatever information you're getting and so on, and we'll basically dissect it and look at it, just flow. And I may have something that I want to put forward, and Ratty, so we flow and we contribute, we dovetail into each other's thing.
Well, we're starting off with you. Go ahead.
All right. Well, good evening to my esteemed colleague, Jeffrey, the defender, Tavares, and indeed the rebel with a cause, my brother and friend, Wilfred Rattigan, the FBI man. Indeed, Sir Herb described him as special, well, he's a former special agent. And Sir Herb just described him as being a special person indeed. And I believe that Jamaica owes this gentleman a debt of gratitude. We really and truly don't see it. Well, some of us bury our head in the sand and so on, and for whatever reason, maybe political, whatever reason, we decide not to pay him the kind of homage that he is deserving of. But that's how it is. We have basically extrapolated a lot of things on your program earlier, Rebel. And certainly I think that it was a teaching moment, and a lot of things, a lot of material out there for the listening and viewing audience to digest, I think we could invite and say to people that listen, this is basically your treat, your present that we gave you earlier and for Christmas. And indeed, we're giving it a topping right now on Mek Wi Talk on the Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. I want to look at the recent scenario with the pay package for the public sector workers here in Jamaica.
But before you go there, hold on, before you go there, there is two things that we need to look at. We're not going to spend any time on it. We're going to look on the thing about the minister's son selling rice. Minister Christopher Tufton.
So we can raise them throughout. We raise
own a company, and he's the sole director for the company? Shareholder. And the son is the director, no, sir?
CEO.
Our CEO. I'm not selling rice.
bad rice.
The word I want to use, I can't use it.
Broke up, bad rice, what is not good for human consumption.
No, the rice they use feed fowl.
Fowl.
And
Is that disgrace?
And he's the Minister of Health.
Is that disgrace? Yes.
You notice something though, them don't say them going to remove it off the shelf or them going to lower the price. You know, them saying we're going to remove it off the shelf and sell it for as fowl feed.
Fowl. Well,
Yeah.
well, I tell you something. It's a glorious opportunity because I don't know if you guys are aware, but the farmers are crying foul because they have no feeding to feed their fowl. There is a shortage of feed.
No pun intended.
No, there's a dangerous shortage of feed here in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, the president for the Jamaica Agriculture Society, he was on the news yesterday. He said one person he knew wanted 20 bags of feed, and that person was only able to get one. There's a chicken farmer, major chicken farmer in St. Anne. She was on the news yesterday evening, and she said that, listen, her birds are dying. She said the birds are overweight because there's a dangerous shortage of feed in the market. The minister said basically it wasn't anything to be alarmed about, but based on what the lady said yesterday, it's indeed very, very alarming. She said that the birds are at 6 or 7 weeks, and the weight that they're showing, they're very much underweight. The chicken should be weighing like about 5 pounds or so, they're barely weighing 3 pounds. She said she has to be keeping them even longer, up to 10 weeks. And indeed, she is losing money and she is in a dire strait of losing out on the market. And it happened at a worse time, Christmas. So pig feed and also the chicken feed are in short supply in Jamaica. And so, that is putting a major spoke in the wheel for poultry and pig farmers.
So the question must be asked, is it that the Minister of Health decided to bring in the rice for people to cook for Christmas dinner?
Well, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm suggesting that this rice could be offloaded. I don't know if it's good for the chicken or whatever, but certainly you could feed the pig with some of it, and so on. So they could basically probably offload those rice at maybe say half or a quarter price.
What we could do, you know, we could suggest that he go to the House of Parliament with it. But anyway, Jeffrey, shut your mouth.
You're too bad. You're too bad. So again, you know, and this once again put our good friend Christopher Tufton under the microscope.
You're a good friend. Not my good friend.
All right. Put the minister under the microscope, because indeed his name seems to be popping up in all these things. One remember the Jamaica move and all sorts of things, the recent things with the hospital, all of these things. And it begs the question, is the minister fit for purpose at this time?
Well, right, Wilfred Rattigan?
No, the minister is not fit for purpose. The minister is fit for repurpose. And I'll tell you why. Because if you look at all the allegations, right, of corruption and fraud and waste and mismanagement, it clear, those things, the examples clearly demonstrate that this man is unfit for the job. Now, let's go back to his qualification. He's not a medical doctor, right? And you don't, I'm not saying that you need a medical doctor to run the Ministry of Health, but there is a medical doctor in the party, Dr. Chang, and they move him elsewhere, and then they put this gentleman now in charge of Ministry of Health. And what has he done since he's been there? It's just one screw up after another, right? Screw up with the conditions of the hospital, the services provided. In fact, if you recall, the Prime Minister at the JLP conference when he gave his speech, he said that he had received, him personally had received complaints about service, delivery, care, equipment, and so on and so forth over at the Ministry of Health. And he said that they were justified. Now, this is a week after the Auditor General said that money had been missing. 400 like contracts, these blind contracts go out, money's flowing out the door.
No tender or nothing like that, yeah?
Right.
The procurement process was breached.
So, I'm still at a loss as to why the Prime Minister hasn't seen it fit to remove him. Now, I hope that there will be a cabinet shuffle soon. And if there is, I say that his ministry is one that should be headed by a new leader.
Then if he was the Minister of Health, if he's going to answer now in the Ministry of National Security and Injustice, and he was the Minister of Health, then are we dead?
Well,
dead
you know
like
what?
Conrad.
Well, the thing is, I think he was, I think we can properly call him the Minister of Wealth, because a lot of money went through that ministry. And then we come now find out that he and his son, they have this contract to bring in rice and all of this stuff. Just like I would properly call the Prime Minister the crime minister, because he's the one now that's going around doing the Minister of National Security's duties.
And that is why I said, if Twiddly Dum Dum was the Minister of Health, if he's doing a poor job as the Minister of National Security and Injustice, and he was the Minister of Health, then I want to dead like that.
I hear you, but
we done dead like a con dog. Riverton don't pick me up.
Well, then we can make fertilizer.
Because if he's handling the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Security this way, and then if he was the Minister of Art, so they reshuffle the cabinet now. Then take over the Ministry of National Security from Dum Dum and give it to somebody else. And give him Ministry of Health. God Almighty will help in the country.
Frankly speaking, I believe that if the Prime Minister make a reshuffle of the cabinet, I expect him to shuffle out Dr. Chang, and Dr. Chang just basically hold the position of Deputy Prime Minister till the next election, when I gather he said that he will not be seeking re-election, and just borrow groceries. So you would retain him as the Deputy Prime Minister, so he would still continue at that same pay grade and so on, and then he basically just filter out at the next general election, because I gather he will not be seeking re-election then.
Then all of them, hold on, before I got this one. Babs, if you bow out. The one when I said to those beat you bow out.
Which one that?
Who is the Minister of local of the government? Carrying hope a garbage truck.
Where you get for your news them from?
What? Hello, we live on air. What they bringing up a garbage truck? What the garbage truck on go fit to put them in the parliament in a hit. Some of them, not all of them, some of them, and put them in a rubber band.
No, you can't. No, I will not.
I will not apologize what I said. I said it and I said it again.
No. I think you can't disrespect our parliamentarian like that, Mr. Tavares. I think you need to retract that, sir.
Then if you have what? Retract what? If you have one in there, if you have one in there now, who get award for that kind of nonsense? And all jackass and all donkey and all this and all that. Disrespecting the people of this country. Me must apologize to them. You expect me to apologize to them? I will do no such thing.
Well, we can criticize them in softer tone. What you said, Rebel?
Well, yes, we can, but I mean, this man here, he's very passionate. he's driving his point home, so.
What you said, he comes with his hammer this evening.
If Dr. Chang wants to bow, then Lady Babsy Grange need to go. Minister Carl Samuda need to go. Delroy the truck need to go. Because he's just a Leland truck. He needs to go. A lot of them need to go.
So you think Mike should stay?
Uncle Mike can go home, go retire now.
So it might be a put him in the They put him in the crew then.
Yes, if they are making laws that at a certain age you must retire, what do you mean they do?
Well, certainly I must say that to be fair to my good friend, and I can declare him now, Mike is my good friend. And Mike has basically
I didn't know as a comrade have Labour Party friends.
I never tell you which political party I support. I am a talk show broadcast journalist, and I call it as I see. I go hard at the PNP as well, and I go hard at the JLP, and I go hard at the private sector. Anybody for that matter. If
no better barrel, no better herring. Go ahead.
If teachers are not pulling their weight, I'll call them out. And if the police officer not pulling their weight, I call them out. If people within my own industry not pulling their weight, I will call them out as well. So I am fearless, and that is why I am dubbed as the fireman, indeed. So, you know, I am saying that Mr. Henry, Lester Mike Henry, he had basically set a clear path of departure, because at his last conference held in Clarendon, his constituency conference, they elect a new chairman in the form of his long-time protege and councillor, Joel Williams. So that pathway has been set now. And as we talk about that, which, as we say, we're flowing. We talk about that maybe we need to look at the whole business of the local government election, which is due by February of next year, as to whether or not the Prime Minister will go back to the Parliament and the Minister of Local Government to seek a further extension. That is left to be seen. You know, we hear the PNP, they are saying that, listen, they are prepared, they are ready. But are they really ready? That is something that will be tested on the ground, certainly when the time comes. And it is indeed going to serve as a referendum on the government, because, and the PNP itself as well, because if the PNP goes into a local government election and fail to perform with this climate in Jamaica, when so many things going awry, then certainly the PNP would be in deep, deep, deep waters. And we could see some implosion taking place within the internal fabric of the 84 political outfit called the People's National Party.
But isn't it constitutional due for local government now?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, it has been due for some time, and it's the second time that they have basically extended the period because of COVID and so on. So they seek an amendment. They actually had an amendment last year and put it to February of this year. So we're expecting some announcement, whether it will be called or what. We also heard from the EOJ, that's Electoral Office of Jamaica, that they are waiting on the approval of the budget. They have already started some training of workers and so on. So things are being put in train, and all flexing. There are some flexing of the muscles of the government that, you know, they're showing sign that they will be going to the poll. Some people are hazarding a guess or saying, listen, they could very well call a synop and go for the general, and shortly thereafter, if they retain, or the PNP, when they will go for the local government thereafter.
But what I was told, Conrad O'Brien and Wilfred Rattigan, by a member of a political party, I won't call it in here, I'll call the person's name.
No, call the party. Which party you heard from?
The Labour Party. That it is a possibility that they may end up trying to call the local and the general all in one, the general and local all in one.
That's something that is banded about, but it won't happen. First thing to begin with, there are a lot of things that need to be done.
Some constitutional reform.
Well, put it this way. If they're going at the time for the local, which is February, as it's due, or even close to February, say March, the possibility of twinning both of them won't be possible, because there are some legislative things that need to be done and so on. So it won't happen. And there are a number of things that would have to be done out of the EOJ and so on and so forth. So it's something that we have been toying with for some time, that you need to basically bring both of them together, because my understanding is that we would be able to save about $1 billion if we're able to put both elections together. So maybe that's something futuristic, and I think it's something that we could look at, really. If we can save $1 billion by having both elections at the same time, then maybe we should go that route.
Wilfred Rattigan?
Yeah, I agree with everything that the fireman says, you know, because I'm not very well versed on that subject, so I have to yield to my brother. You know, whatever he says, I just follow him lockstep, you know. And yeah, I just follow him lockstep. Plus, me like him shirt. Me I said, why me can't thief a shirt there, you know. So maybe Jeffrey can't go by him house and bite it from him, you know.
No,
and
man. If I'm the orange color, I'm gonna take it off.
Let me throw something out. Fireman, you have been very vocal.
Yes.
In explaining to our most learned brother, the people's defender, Jeffrey Tavares, that there is a stark difference between the PNP and the JLP in terms of governance, policy, personality, so on and so forth. Where do you see, I'm gonna ask a different question than what you probably anticipate, but how do you see the PNP shaping up? Because we're talking about local government and the possible twinning up. How do you see them shaping up?
Let me divorce myself from the discussion, because certainly certain discussion that we have between myself and Jeffrey is basically not on camera like this. So what happened, I am responsible enough as a person who is a mainstream talk show host. I have to be very careful. But what I will say to you, I will discuss the whole business of the shaping of the party, but I'm not going to get into so much of the difference and whatever.
No, that's why I asked about. That's why I straight away from that and say I'm asking a different question. I'm asking you, how do you, as a journalist then, as an independent, objective journalist, how do you see them shaping up for the election?
All right.
General.
All right. Let's contextualize things.
Very big words.
The People's National Party went into an internal election. Well, there was an election that Dr. Phillips ran in 2020, right? Dr. Phillips lost that election, and the PNP went into internal election mode because Dr. Phillips announced his departure from the political scene, well, his pending departure from the political scene, certainly that of him not interested in continuing as the president of the party. Now, two persons contested the presidential race, as you know, Miss Lisa Hanna and, of course, Mr. Mark Jefferson Golden. Mark Golden emerged as the winner, and the party, there was no secret that there was a split in the party, a very heavy split in the party, you know, because you have some people who were supporting Lisa, some people who support Mark and so on. And the divide was really, really thick. You know, you could cut it with a knife. That's how heavy it was. It continued for some time. And then I think Mark Golden tried his best and, you know, tried to bring things together by bringing on persons on board, persons who had supported Lisa and so on. And we saw some endorsement, certainly at the last conferences. You know, you have people like Natalie Nita Garvin now, who she was the campaign manager for Lisa Hanna. You know, she is now fully on board. And a number of persons like Mr. Philip Paulwell and so on, all of them basically circling the wagon now with Mark Golden. And as a result of that, we're seeing great improvement. There are still not where you'd want it to go. There are still some persons who are out there. As a matter of fact, you have a small fraction, a very small group, you know, maybe about 6 persons or so who are visible out there. Don't know if they have other persons. They call themselves the resistance. So they are still, you know, out there kind of creating some level of disturbance, but I don't know how much traction they're getting. And as a result of that, Mark Golding now seems to be, he has a team around him that is very supportive of him and so on. And he is getting more and more confident in the job as he goes along, because there must be a point, there's a point that we must know that Mark Golding certainly has emerged as the president of the PNP with certain the least political experience, active political on the ground.
But hold on, Mr. O'Brien. Questions are being asked around in the wider Jamaica. Why is it the party won't come together in the sense of you don't see a Lisa Hanna anymore? Yes, Lisa thought that she's gonna whatever leave the party and so forth. But you hardly see a Lisa Hanna. You hardly see a mainly a Lisa Hanna. Is it that there's some feathers being ruffled within the party itself?
No, I don't think so. What happened? There is a specific problem with Lisa in her Northeast Centre constituency, you know, and I believe that she's reading the tea leaves, and she said that this because people misconstrue what happened with Lisa. Lisa has not left the party. Lisa could have created havoc within the party by saying, listen, I'm stepping away. What she did is serve notice to say, listen, at the next general election, I will not be contesting. But, you know, a day in politics is a long time. So there could be very well be some changes when the trumpet sounded and she decided that, listen, she is going to be going to the poll, maybe a different seat, etc. Because a lot of persons are saying that, listen, based on the fallout that she has with her councillors and so on, maybe what she should do is to look at a different constituency. But over and over, every opportunity that she got, she reiterated the point that she has an excellent relationship with the comrade leader, Mark Golding. And indeed,
but people are saying, is that true? Because the fact of the matter is, the body language say a lot, Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Even at the conference that they had the other day, body language say a lot. And I'm not an expert in reading people's body language, you know. But I see a lot of things that you know, it makes you think and makes you ask questions.
Well, let me respond this way. You're correct. Body language basically says a lot, and it's indeed would be much better politics, much better optics, seeing Lisa Hanna hand in glove, so to speak, with the party leader, the comrade leader, the opposition leader, Mark Golding. That goes without saying, because, you know, optics is very, very important, and politics basically, you know, optics has a lot to do with it. However, I am seeing where the party has basically grown leaps and bounds within the last year or so. There's also another thing, Jeffrey, my friend Jeffrey, and Rebel Rattigan. The PNP, while I believe that they have a lot more work to do on the ground, there are so much moving parts within the pertaining to the government of Jamaica, what the people are going through, the hardship, the poverty, the 60% of persons who are living under $9,000 per week, and so on and so forth. What we saw over Clifton with the demolition, where the Prime Minister earned the name the demolition man, and so on and so forth. So many things are happening. So what you find, a part of their politics is really a two-pronged thing. One, the actual work that you do on the ground, and also you can benefit from the fall. And I think the PNP will benefit, the opposition PNP could benefit from by default from some of the things that we're seeing happening within the oldness administration as it relates to government, things like crime, etc., the draconian measures that is being meted out to the people, and so on and so forth. So all of those things, but I would not advise the PNP to take that for granted. I think they need to go down underground and do the hard slugging. Eyeballing the people, touch, press flesh, etc., etc. And also, you know, as they go along, they basically put forward their game plan in order to move the Jamaican society, the Jamaican family in a better place.
Wilfred Rattigan, do you believe, as a person who lives outside of Jamaica and looking in, do you believe that over the years, political party has done enough for Jamaica?
But we don't leave that yet and go to there, so we're fleshing out some.
Hold on. There's a reason why I went to there, because of where I am going. The fact of the matter is, we're talking about, does the People's National Party stand a chance in the general election, and so forth and so forth and so forth. But the question must be asked also, Mr. O'Brien, does the political parties in this country, have they done anything to uplift the people of this country?
They've done a lot.
So, Mr. O'Brien, hold a minute. I'm asking Mr. Rattigan this now.
Yeah, go ahead.
He outside looking in. Can you, as a Jamaican, live overseas, can you say that they have done, the two political parties, whether PNP or JLP, have they done enough for the people of this country?
Two different questions you're asking. Done anything and done enough. Two different questions.
You want to refine the question?
Mr. O'Brien.
No, man, Jeffrey.
No. You must stop this here.
But I have to correct you. You have to correct you because nobody at all in their right mind could answer you in the affirmative to say that they have done enough. Nobody could answer you that, could answer that question in the affirmative. Has they done anything? That's a different question. Careful, Jeff. Where is he? In God?
No, same.
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
The question I asked you earlier on, sir, you as a Jamaican looking in, can you say, do you think or do you believe, has the political parties in Jamaica has done enough for the people of this country?
No, they haven't done enough. And it speaks volumes that 60% of the people, 11% still living below the poverty line, and 60% earning $9,000 per week. It's not enough. If you look at housing, if you look at infrastructure, you look at medical, medical assistance, if you look at jobs, if you look at all the major identifiers as to whether our country is succeeding or failing, and you talk to the people on the ground, you'd have to say, no, this government I'm talking about, it hasn't done enough. And then when you look at it,
hold on a minute, no.
I'm talking about this one, I'm going to make a comparison.
Then you make a comparison?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you look at the gap between the haves and the people who don't have, it's getting wider and wider and wider. Now, if you compare the JLP in its present formation and how it's handling the government's business to the PNP, that they succeeded. Yes, the PNP there was corruption there. Nobody's going to deny that. But people will tell you that there was a sense of hope there, that people believe that if they work hard, you know, if they work hard, they would succeed. Opportunities were being created. And if you go beyond that and you go back to the party, the party of the 70s, the PMT of the 70s, I mean, they did a tremendous amount that, I mean, it's undeniable, right? They did the Jamal program, they did the microdam program, they had the teachers coming in over from Cuba, they had all that. And we all know that Jamaica was progressing at a steady rate. And once the US government decided that this was more than they could stomach, then that was the end of that, right? The country was destabilized. So to answer your question, have the parties done enough? Both of them? No, I don't think they've done enough. I mean, I think you could make an argument though, saying that one has done more to improve the populace, or the standard of living for the populace and the opportunities than the other. But to answer your question as a yes or no, have these two parties done enough for the country? No.
Okay. Still sticking with them, then I'll switch over to Mr. O'Brien. So do you think now, as the local government election coming up, you can see wherein the people within the parish council, send out the MPM, police and so forth, mashing up people's stall and all sorts of things? And this may be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask the question anyhow. Do you think that people should go out and really vote?
That's for me?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People, I mean, look, you only have two parties in Jamaica. And so people fought for that right so that people could vote, right? And there are many reasons why people vote. You could vote for the party that you like, or your vote could be an expression of disfavor with another party because you only have two. But I think the idea that people should just not vote, I think it runs counter to the idea of adult suffrage, where people got that. They didn't get that. People fought in many places in this world. People fought to have that right. People of color, as a matter of fact, fought to have the right to vote. And so it's disappointing when you hear people say, well, you know, them now vote for this and now vote for that, because I think there's power in the vote. And so if you could galvanize yourselves as a community and you can approach the candidates and say, listen, we will vote for you provided you do the following things. But I think what they have to do is do it in a block. You can't, it's not going to work if one person does it. They have to do it in a block, pretty much like how some groups in America, how they vote. I mean, the candidates know that this is a platform, this is what this group believes in, this is what they stand for. And so if the candidate makes overtures to them to say, yeah, I believe in what you believe in, we're the same, and I will go and I will fight for you, then what they do is they don't get one vote, they may get 100,000 votes. So everybody just vote as a block. I think that's what needs to be done in Jamaica. People need to start voting kitchen table issues. They need to eschew the idea of a party and say, look, we're voting for our children. We're voting for ourselves. We're voting for our children's children. And if you can't show us a pathway out of where we are, particularly the people who are living in poverty, if you can't show us, and if we can't see it, and if it can't be done, then what they need to do is come together and pit the parties against each other. Not just say, okay, you know, this is a JLP community, we're all gonna vote JLP, and nothing gets done. And the next election comes around and the same thing over and over. Because the politicians, that's why they have things in Jamaica they call safe seats. You know, no seat should be safe. No seat should be safe. I mean, if you're not doing the job, if you're not taking care of the people, then the people should kick you out. But that's not what's happening. So we need a Jeffrey Tavares, we need a Conrad O'Brien, you know, we need a Wayne Lonesome, you know, we need people like you guys to to kind of like bring it to the fore so people understand that your vote is very important, right? And it's worth more than $5,000 on a two-piece chicken and a t-shirt, right? Because it's not just for one day. Your vote is for several years at a time. And so we just have to just do the right thing. We just have to galvanize and form blocks, voting blocks, and just say, okay, and the voting block shouldn't be based on party either. It should be based on performance.
Wilfred, Conrad and Brian, do you think the two political parties have done enough for Jamaica? And aren't you hacking that thing you have on there, sir?
Go ahead.
The question, do you think the two political parties have done enough for Jamaica?
All right. As I said before, and I remain wedded to what I said before. First thing to begin with, I know disrespect, but I think that your question, that question is a kind of non sequitur, because certainly I don't see how anybody could answer that question in the affirmative. The answer is no. The both political party has not done enough for the people of Jamaica. There are many we could have achieved more. The whole business of corruption and so on cost the country in excess of 5% of GDP on an annual basis. So that in itself means that we could move our people further along the continuum. But I'm never ever one who is willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater at all. Because this notion where some people want to say that basically the political party has done nothing and so on, and all of that, it's not true. And for example, I can enumerate a number of things, and I may be biased on one side, but I can enumerate. You probably can share with me other stuff, right? The raw what Mr.
It's
Rattigan,
7 o'clock.
What Mr. Rattigan spoke about earlier, it's legendary when you talk about the 70s, the raft of legislation. And that is what basically created the Sumaditization of our people. Because a lot of us were nothing. A lot of us end up pole position today. And it was just basically by the stroke of the pen in terms of legislation why we are here now, right? We talk about the whole business of school, the access to school. In the last PJ Patterson administration, he built 17 schools, new schools in Western Jamaica. This administration is in office for 7 years. They have built none, right? We could go on and on. The concept of the Highway 2000 that came under PJ Patterson, that basically open up various corridors in Jamaica. Those are things that done on with the insight of politicians. The breaking of the monopoly in the telecom sector. Those are things that done by virtue of politicians. And I could go on and on and on and on. You know, a lot of things have been done. And I am not going down that road for throw a party under the bus or for throw the whole of politician them under the bus, so the whole of them are the same and all sort of thing. It's a nonsensical argument. And it's an argument that must be flushed in the toilet or thrown in the waste basket. It's a non-argument about the two of them are the same and they don't do nothing. Nothing no goes up. There are clear mark lines of demarcation that you can use to separate. Right? When you talk about the whole business of the advent of entire new communities developing Portmore, greater Portmore all over the place where people have got own housing, communities in Clarendon like Langville Park, all of those places, right? And those were done under the PNP administration. I'm not saying that the JLP not doing anything and they're not picking up and doing some things now, but all those things done. And we must not be ungrateful and say that politicians no do nothing at all. Not no go so. Right? As something that we take for granted. We took for granted. Under the leadership of Edward Siaga and the JLP, people used to have to line up in a line and pay how much middleman to get one motor vehicle. PJ Patterson and Paul will come and open up. And don't tell me that to be under anybody. It's policy and vision that change those things.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is where we end the program for this evening.
Indeed.
All right, my brother.
All the best.
Mr.
God bless
Rattigan, your
you.
final word before you go off, sir. Because, Mr. Rattigan, your final word, unmute your mic. Because I'm asking some
Yeah.
nonsensical questions. This is the last program. Let's go.
I think what we're doing is we're doing a service for the people of Jamaica. We're also doing it for ourselves because I think each of us, there is a deep-seated feeling that we have to give back from whence we came. Give back to from whence we came. And so the idea of us getting together and doing these programs to educate, inform, elevate, uplift the people, I think it's a remarkable idea whose time has come. I've never seen, there was a time when I was distant from Jamaican politics because of my assignments, but I don't recall seeing a time where you have so many young, energetic, bright, fearless people speaking out against the government in unison, right? Speaking out against the government and its treatment of the population. And I think we're onto something here. I think we're onto a movement. And I think it's only a matter of time now before, mark my words, I think it's only a matter of time before people start to take us seriously, because we're now getting into the psyche of the people. Like the lady said in her voice note to the fireman, you know, this message is getting into every crevice and corner.
Nook and cranny. Nook and cranny.
Yeah. And so I'm very pleased and you know, very pleased and just overjoyed at the way the message is spreading at a rapid rate. And I'm looking forward to a year from now that all of us, we can sit back and look at the progress that we've made. And I'm sure there will be progress. But it's up to us, because people in Jamaica, for the most part, I think they understand what's going on. A lot of them understand what's going on. A lot of them don't. But the one thing I can say about all of them, or most of them, is that they're afraid. People are afraid to come out and speak openly. I mean, the fireman should get a medal, you know, for living there and taking the position he's taken and challenging people and, you know, dealing with the issue of corruption and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a sense of safety in doing it from a distance. And so I take my hat off to him, you know, and I take my hat off to you, Mr. Tavares, because you guys are on the front line. I'm way past the line. I'm in the back somewhere.
I just want to say one thing before I go. So
hold on for me. Hold on. Somebody sent something to me right here now. The person said to me, Tavares, I must lift my hat to you and Wilfred Rattigan for the program you had last Tuesday about the Radam. The gentleman who called in pertaining to the RGD, that he has been giving them money to do deep search. Please remember to look into it. Our nation is in need of people like you and Mr. Rattigan. Jamaica is in need of serious help. We're not supposed to be too political that we can't speak our mind. We're not supposed to be a PNP or a JLP. We're supposed to be neutral. And with this, you know, I'm going to say something here. For some reason, people align my name with the Labour Party. Let me make something clear once more. I am not a member of any political party in this country. I don't align myself with any. I'm not affiliated with any. What I speak on the behalf of my fellow Jamaicans. I am a Jamaican, and Jamaica come first for me. I am not going to be there pumping things about a Labour Party or a PNP or whatever. I am not that type of person. And whenever I speak anything, I speak on the behalf of my fellow Jamaicans. On behalf of my fellow Jamaicans. And I will continue to do so. I will continue to do so. Whether I ask nonsensical questions or not, I will continue to do so. And I take great offense to what Mr. O'Brien said earlier on. I take great offense to it.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is, as what Wilfred Rattigan said, that we have a movement that we have to deal with. And we have people to speak up for. There are a lot of Jamaicans out there who need help. As I said in one of my programs, I know what it's like not to have anything to eat. Because I'm at a virus. I know how that feels. And there's many Jamaicans out there this time of year who doesn't have anything at all. Nothing at all to put to their mouth. Those are the people that will continue to fight for. Join me on Tuesday on the Mek Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Thank you all very much for coming on.